So today we are here with Frank Borowick and Michael Doyle, who are both candidates for the VeronaWalk Board of Directors. Frank and Mike, could you please tell us a little bit why you feel it's important to run for the VeronaWalk Board of Directors?
My name is Michael Doyle. I'm a full-time resident. My background is that I was in the Navy for 6 years. I went to Wayne State University in business management. I worked in the defense business for 20 years, and I was a project manager and program manager in the defense industry. For the past 30 years, I've been a real estate broker in the state of Michigan and the state of Florida, and been very successful at that, which coincidentally has led me to understanding and knowing how to read balance sheets, how to read income statements, and knowing what things are important for fiscal responsibility.
Hi, my name is Frank Borowick. I'm a full-time resident in VeronaWalk. I am a retired Director of Facilities Management for the City of New York for the Department of Education. I managed and was responsible for a $134 million budget of tax levy money. My responsibilities went from all phases of facilities management: landscaping, groundkeeping, heating, air conditioning, common grounds, swimming pools. It's something that I've done for 30 years. It's something that's in my blood, and I feel very passionate about how VeronaWalk is being run. I feel that it's time for a change. The current board, in my opinion, does not take the interests of the entire community. They take the interests of certain interest groups, and they never think about us as homeowners. Above all, we are all homeowners. We may do different activities, but we're homeowners. The values of our homes are the most important things to us. And I feel that the current system of the way it's run is totally inept.
My motivation for running for the board is based upon my interest and my experience in financial analysis. I discovered 18 months ago that the reserve fund was wholly underfunded. I was seriously not happy about that, and I made that known to many people on the board and in committee work. Since that time, I think the message has been heard, and to the credit of Elliot Schwartz, who's the chairman of the Finance Committee, he has recommended to the board that approximately $50,000 be contributed on a monthly basis, and has been for the year 2015. We now have a balance of 1.3 million approximately dollars in our reserve fund. The problem is that we don't know what the component assets are that underlie the necessity for reserves. So as a consequence, we don't know whether it's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. That reserve study has been completed to a point of review by the board, and that has not reached the light of day. They've paid for it, they've received a reserve study, and then they don't acknowledge it and just let it go away. So we really don't know what our reserves requirements are, and that's a problem. One of the things that we have, which is not on our balance sheet and is an asset to this community, are the people who are volunteering. There are so many people who have great skill sets, who want to participate, who want to volunteer in many, many different areas.
This current board just doesn't disseminate the information that they should, and they don't do it in a timely manner. To make a reference to an old TV show, it's instead of to tell the truth, it's I've got a secret. And we need to get away from that. We need to let everybody in this community know what's going on. It should be done out in the open. It should be public knowledge when the committees are meeting. There should be an agenda posted for the committees. There should be minutes of those committees, and it's not happening. And then you show up at a meeting, and there's a very vague agenda. So I feel that it's just time to give more information, more knowledge, and let the folks in this community know really what's going on. It's time that we all know the truth, and I don't think we're getting that right now.
Right.
Things about this current board is the length of the meetings of the board of directors. We start off with a full house, and after an hour and a half, folks start to trickle out, and at the end of the meeting, there's just a handful of people left. And I think that may be by design, and the entire community never gets to see what the public statements are, and they're just frustrated and they go home. And I think that we should walk in as a group, and at the meeting's end, walk out as a group. Not just come in as a whole bunch of people, and at the end is just a handful. I think that's totally ridiculous.
Well, these are things, committees themselves. Only one person makes a choice for committee chairman, the president. That's not the way to do this. The board should agree that the chairman of the committees is the one they choose, and let the committee chairman choose his people and then have that approved by the board at a later date.
I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that there's no continuity, there's no process. One day they do it one way, the next time they do it another way. We never know what that process is. As far as the agendas are concerned, the president makes the agendas. I feel that the president, whoever that is, should ask input from the rest of the board what the agenda should be, and at the beginning of the meeting, you vote on whether to accept or amend that agenda. And that way, the entire board of directors now has input. Each board member has one vote. The president may run the meeting, but he's not, or she's not, more powerful than anyone else on that board. There's 5 members as it stands now, 5 votes. And we need to be united. We could disagree with one another, but we have to support one another. And I don't think that happens now.
Not at all. In fact, if you were to stay to the strict rule of Robert's rules, the president does not vote on motions. The president only votes on as tiebreaker. So, you know, the way these meetings have been run with 4- and 5-hour meetings is it's like you know, pins and needles. It's unbelievable. And it could be all done with a proper management company running the show. That's really the pivotal point, is to have a manager who can coalesce, create the kind of environment that allows consent agreements, consent agendas to be established, so that the meetings can be done in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
I'm on the facilities committee. I didn't choose who was on that committee. There are a lot of nice folks in this organization that could add a lot to committees, but they don't seem to pick folks whose background is intended for that particular committee. And the committees were spoken about being formed last May. We just had a landscape committee with their first meeting. Landscaping is 20% of our budget. Do you realize how much money that is? And there was no committee. Nothing happened. The finance committee, which is very, very important, hasn't issued minutes since last June. You never know when the meetings take place. I don't know how the budget is formulated. We get all different answers, and every time I ask a question, I get a different answer. I can't make heads or tails. We need to work as a board, give us a legitimate budget, an honest budget, and assessments that are real, not made up. You know, just because we didn't get an assessment raise, we can't live in a false sense of security. Our reserves need to be addressed, and I don't think they're being addressed properly. I think right now financially we're in pretty good shape, but we have to stay that way. And I think the current board will not let that happen. We need change. And I think that an infusion of new people will bring new ideas and get things done.
Okay, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Frank. The Committee for the Betterment of VeronaWalk strongly endorses these candidates. We ask that you vote for Frank and Mike and return your ballots following the instructions provided by Southwest Management. Thank you for your interest in VeronaWalk, and please forward this YouTube link to all of your friends and neighbors in VeronaWalk. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.